Communism is wrong. Uncertain times, wishy-washy science, cheaters on Call of Duty. What can be trusted nowadays? I'll tell you what can be trusted. Grand Thumb Science. In uncertain times, we bring you hard evidence and real facts. And today, we're going to be proving a very controversial topic, and that is, we're going to be testing how deadly 10mm is. I hope you will join us as we test the deadliness of 10mm.
Why are you breathing so hard?
Science is difficult, but you know it's not difficult? Signing up for the Sonoran Desert Institute, our biggest sponsor. If you're looking to get your start in gunsmithing, go to the Sonoran Desert Institute. We are big fans of them, we love them, they support our science. Actually, like literally, see? Support it. And of course, who can we not forget? Micah!
Primary arms, some of the most based optics east of Colorado.
There you have it. If you want to get the most base optics east of Colorado, go check them out. Make sure you send them an email and say Grand Thumb sent you and that you love a Skittles November. Don't forget Mantis, if you're looking to do any type of dry fire training, it is the way you get better. We all love it. Micah, do you love it?
It's actually my favorite.
It is actually really good. We do love it quite a bit. And of course, AAC Ammo, big thank you to them for allowing us to shoot, be better. Go and check them out. We love their 77 grain. Talk is cheap and science costs us a lot of money, actually. Now, you might be saying, Mike, you dumb idiot, there's no 10mm. There's a 9mm. Is that what you're talking about? No, I'm not. We know precisely what we're talking about. So the 10mm, if you're not familiar with it, is actually very interesting. You see, in the 1980s, the FBI got into a shootout, and 9mm LMAO performed very terribly. And the FBI realized that they needed a more powerful caliber to shoot through windshields and otherwise infringe on rights. So they sought out the civilian world because a round very similar to 10mm is being developed by Jeff Cooper and multiple other people. Long story short, 10mm auto was developed. It's actually a pretty cool name. I feel really cool saying it. But my favorite part about the 10mm auto story is that the round has some recoil behind it. It's actually a fairly powerful round. And the weak soy boy feds actually couldn't shoot it well, so every FBI agent that qualified with a 10mm was shooting really terribly. So what happened is the FBI then asked them to, make it a little bit not as snappy, don't shoot as hard because we have weak wrists, and we actually came up with the 40 Smith and Wesson. So the 40 Smith and Wesson is actually just a 10mm with a shortened case since they don't need as much powder in there, since their federal agents could not shoot it well.
That's actually crazy. The 40 has a big history because now it's not even the 40, it's the 40.
It's a 40. Actually, you know what they call the 40 Smith and Wesson? They call it the 40 short and weak. But right here we have a Smith and Wesson Performance Center M&P 2.0 in 10mm auto. You see that, Micah?
Yeah, it's tight.
That's tight as fuck. Here's an unfortunate fact for you. If you're buying 10mm auto, most companies that are making it actually aren't loading it to the full specifications. You're actually getting a round that is only marginally more powerful than a 40 Smith and Wesson short and weak. So it's actually quite a travesty. However, many defensive companies do make full power 10mm loads. And today we are using Underwood. We love them quite a bit. Their ammunition rocks. And we are going to be taking a look at two different rounds. We're going to see which one works best, and then we're going to compare it in a ballistic dummy. We're going to be comparing this directly with a 9mm shooting the famous, how does Charlie say it?
Gold spear dot.
Gold spear dot, spear gold dot, which is an absolute killer when it comes to 9mm. So right here, we have the 10mm auto, 135 grain jacketed hollow point, 1,600 feet per second. Spicy. Then of course we have the incredible 180 grain XTP that stands for Extreme Terminal Performance or Extreme Terminal Penetration. Penetration being the big word, jacketed hollow point, 1,300 feet per second. We're gonna see which does best, and it will be compared directly to 9mm LMAO, and we're gonna see how it does. There's a lot of people absolutely obsessed with 10mm. Like, they will live and die on that hill, but I don't think they shoot, so they'll probably die on that hill.
Mike.
Sorry.
I brought you a 9mm.
right here we have a Brita 92 FS from Blackbeard's Custom. He's actually our best friend. We love this guy quite a bit.
Oh, he's mega big.
And this is the coolest pistol I've literally ever owned. If you've seen Romeo plus Juliet, this is it. Right here we have the 9mm Spear Gold Dot, 124 grain. Next to it we have the guy she told you not to worry about, the 10mm 135 grain jacketed hollow point. 135 grain jacketed hollow point, 10mm, 1600 feet per second. Ready?
Yep. Holy recoil, bro.
Dude, even with a comp, that was something. It dumped every single ounce of energy in like the first half of the gel block. That's crazy transfer.
Bro,
energy.
I would even say like the first quarter of the gel block.
Dude, come look at this right here.
That's like right at the entrance.
So giant 10 millimeter hole right there in the entrance. And that whole thing began to fragment immediately. The petals peeled right off. Right on impact, you could see all the wound tracks and you could see how big that temporary cavity was. That makes it a little bit easier to incapacitate somebody if you're a little off from a major vessel. And then you can see the slug itself traveled a good distance in and then continued to fragment and expand and then came to a rest about halfway through. I'm really interested to see what the 180 grain is going to do at this point. Okay, now we have the 180 grain XTP, Extreme Terminal Performance, which is a Hornady projectile, and it performs really well. That was lame. I'm sorry. I'll grow up.
All right, I'm curious to see what the recoil is going to be like on this.
Let's see, dude. You ready?
Send it.
Okay, we have 180 grain XTP jacketed hollow point. Ready, Micah?
Yep. I don't even know if I want to shoot that.
That euthanized the dog in me, I'll tell you that much. To be clear, I anticipated recoil on the first one and went super low. That thing is stout, but more importantly, that had crazy penetration and crazy cavitation, as you can see from the slow-mo. Let's take a look and see how we did here. So the wound tracks aren't as crazy big. Do you want to come in and zoom in on these?
Yeah.
The wound tracks aren't as crazy big as the 135 grain. I'm going to owe that to the speed of the projectile. But what it lost in there is certainly made up for in temporary cavity, and the wound channel is still incredibly impressive. And not to mention, it went through the entire gel block. This is kind of what I would default to in a defensive scenario, and the reason I'm saying that is penetration is incredibly important in a defensive scenario, especially winter coats, windshields. This thing is not going to care. And I'm guessing with a good winter coat in front, that's going to slow it down even more and stop that in the body. And you never know when you're getting like transverse shots versus just straight through. That's got the power behind it. Right here we have some factory 10mm that is loaded, well, see for yourself. If that's 10mm, then why is it loaded to 40 SAMI specs? You're being cheated. Let's see how LOL 9mm does. 124 grain, Spear Gold Dot. This is a killer. This is a killer round in 9mm. Ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
9mm feels like a toy now. But the performance of the Spear Gold Dot is really good, especially for the recoil that you get out of that round. So let's take a look at the wind track right here. So first off, it traveled all the way to the end. We actually have the slug right there, and I'll pull that out in just a second. But if we start at the entrance right here, we can see we certainly had expansion. You can see in the slow-mo, the expansion was there as well. Not nearly as energetic as the 10mm, but still excellent performance. It might seem like super weak, like it didn't really do well, but that is wonderful terminal performance from a 9mm round. Okay, just pulling the slug out. We have Charlie to be weird about it, so it's actually much more science related. And right there, we have the perfect opening. Wow, that ballistic dummy definitely got rocked. Probably a permanent injury. You know, maybe if he had good representation, he'd be okay, but he doesn't. But you know what? You can have good legal representation. Now this video is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan, the country's biggest injury law firm. With over 900 lawyers, over 100 locations at 49 states. Injured and don't know where to start? With Morgan & Morgan, it is so easy. They are a modernized law firm with simple clicks. You're gonna get through, you're gonna submit that, and you know what? It's not gonna cost you a thing. Well, unless you win, but then you're gonna have money. But they will have attorneys, they're gonna have paralegals, they're gonna have a team helping you, and it's not gonna cost you a dime. until you win that case. Hey, and are you not fit yet? That's okay, because of Morgan & Morgan, you can submit that claim from the couch. Listen, if you're ever injured in an accident, hiring a lawyer is one of the best injury law firm. And with Morgan & Morgan, you can do that in less than 8 clicks. So what I want you guys to do is this. You can check out Morgan & Morgan, get that claim submitted. For more information, go to forthepeople.com or dial #law. Thank you guys. Let's get back to wrecking these ballistic dummies. Now, right here, we have one of our volunteers. This is a ballistic dummy from Ballistic Dummy Lab. It is a pretty good approximation of the human body. We have bone, organ, fluids. Bullets do weird things when they strike these different parts of the body. So this does a fairly good job of showing what it could look like. It's not a one-to-one, but it's, what do we say, Micah? We say good enough
for government work.
For government work, there you have it. So we're gonna start with our first shot, 135 grain, jacketed hollow point from the 10mm through the upper chest. Then we'll do the 180. 135 grain, jacketed hollow point. Oh! Look at that expansion. Do you see that flowering?
It's immediate. It's like it's almost like surface contact, and it just starts to flower.
What's interesting to me is you can see it shattered 2 ribs right there, not from direct contact, but simply by being close enough to the wound cavity. This is why that temporary wound cavity and the permanent are just so important. And it went straight through the lung, and you can see it destroyed the lung. You see the amount of bleeding there. Then of course we have a lot of internal bleeding. What's crazy to me is it traveled through all those ribs, hit the scapula, and still almost exited. That is a psychotic amount of power being dumped into a human body. That is death right there. There is not much that's gonna save you outside of like some type of healer's magic. What's the spell?
You could just drink a health potion.
Yeah, the health potion, Skyrim's.
So my friend decided to try and use a necromancer spell, and apparently we contaminated the crime scene because that spell uses a lot of glitter.
180 grain. Do you see flowering. That? So it hit straight. Oh. It hit straight through that rib and just disintegrated. You see how much is missing? It cracked up through the sternum. It still broke this collar, this upper rib right here. Looks like the lower rib was cracked too. Let's see the back. Oh, dude, it had enough power to shatter the scapula and still exit, dude. It's time to hit it from the back. 135, gut shot. Oh, no. The 135, I can't believe how big it opens up. Look at those petals coming off on that permanent wound cavity.
That is probably the craziest handgun round to date we've seen as far as initial expansion.
We fired a lot from like 44 Magnum to 500 Smith and Wesson, but this is a huge wound cavity for what we have, like just a semi-automatic, rimless cartridge. That's wild. I cannot believe that. So it went straight through the gut. We impacted off the spine, shattered the spine, and you can see the slug is kind of stuck in the spine right there. So you're never walking again, that's it. 180 grain XTP. Dude.
That one seemed like it went out the back. Perfect star pattern.
I have never seen that large of a permanent wound cavity from a handgun. That looks like a shotgun slug.
That is insane.
Oh, it went straight. You could see the hole in the spine. There's a slug right there, a piece of the petal. Should we pull that out? Okay, after reviewing the high speed, we actually did have complete jacket separation and the lead slug itself did exit. I cannot believe that amount of power. That blows me away. But a good question is gonna be, what is it like with follow-up shots? We have 2 comped weapons. Both you could consider them performance type weapons. How fast will it take me to do a bill drill with full power rounds with both of them? Next up is gonna be bill drill. 6 rounds in under 2 seconds at 7 yards. It's gonna be, I'm guessing, significantly easier with the 9mm. I actually haven't shot this particular one much because it's so beautiful, but here we are. And then we'll be using full power 180 grain 10mm, and we'll see what the time difference is. I'm guessing if I'm actually trying to make good hits. So I haven't shot 10mm enough, dude. I'm not Let's see how it goes, man. All right, you ready? All right, next up, full power 10 mil. Bill drill. .237, not too bad.
But slower.
I had to focus pretty hard on that. Mikey, you gotta try it once.
I've only fired one round through this thing, so. Jesus! You gotta shift your grip almost halfway through that.
Communism is wrong. Oh.
What's your 2 cents?
Sorry, I was looking at the mountain. I'm bought in, dude. I'm 100% in. I'm carrying this, dude. Tell me anybody's gonna get up.
No one's getting up.
No one's getting up, but you know how many rounds I can carry? 15 10 millimeter rounds. We have an M&P 2.0, 10 millimeter, non-comped, so we can see the full power recoil, because I'm probably not gonna carry the comped version. I felt that a lot more. The stippling is great. I love M&Ps, but I felt that a lot more compared to the comp, which makes sense, of course. Next up, we have the absolute polar opposite. We have a comped Sandhawk from Nighthawk. Just does not recoil.
Nice airsoft, dude.
Yeah, that's an airsoft gun right there. You know, as much as we argue about calibers, when it comes to the Grand Thumb crew, the thing that really matters to me is that you train. If you're not carrying your gun, it doesn't matter. People are like, oh, I carry like a 45 or 10 millimeter. I'm like, cool, do you like carry it to the gym? They're like, no, it's too big. Cool, I would rather you carry a 380 to the gym, at least have something on you. The gun left in your nightstand is worth nothing. Make sure that you carry, make sure that you are training with your firearm, otherwise it's not gonna matter. 10 mil, super cool, great performance. If you don't train with it, guess what? You're gonna suck and you're gonna miss. Train, that is the only thing I will tell you about this, other than the 10 millimeter got that dog and it will euthanize other dogs, 100%. Bussin', for real, for real. Final thing for you guys, dad advice. We haven't harped on it enough, but you know, I think it's really important to note that as the winter holidays come around, you don't let yourself go. Make sure you hit the gym, you put those calories to good use. Get apeshit fuck jacked.